So before I go into how I help people, I want to go back in time and give you a little history and a little bit of information about my journey. So I left Arizona, where I was born and raised, a little girl in Scottsdale, born in Phoenix. Saguaro was a little vague, but you can barely see it. I left Arizona to go to art school. This was my dream. And you can see that I was a puppy there, and that I had just received, this is graduation day, I had just got my Bachelor's of Fine Arts from Art Center College of Design. I freelanced for years, and then I took a job as an art director for a gift industry specialist, where I got to oversee all sorts of greeting card designing and art direction. So this is my fur baby, who is watching from above. That's little Argyle, a Sealyham Terrier. I know he looks like a stuffed animal, but he was real. And this was Valbear. Did anybody ever buy Valbear products? Do you go back far enough? Anyway, we licensed her to everything. She was I came up with the idea of her. She was my baby. And I got all sorts of animals on cards, and my career was like at its peak. I was getting calls from headhunters from New York every other week trying to steal me from this publisher to take me somewhere else. So everything was looking like it was fabulous on the outside. However, on my way to work early one morning, my life was about to take a dramatic turn. I was on the Benicia Bridge. There was a pile-up. The guy behind me started it, and it was a domino effect. My brand new car was totaled. I survived, thank God, and everyone else survived that I know of. And when I drive over that bridge today, I bless it, I thank it, because it got me to a therapist. It got me on a healing path where my art, my health, and my life began to transform for the better. This is a crayon drawing I did at 4 years old. I've shown this before, so some of you have seen it. And it was a clown, supposed to be a clown, but what it was a self-portrait. I lived in an unsafe home where there was violence, emotional abuse, and sexual abuse. So that was a snapshot of what I lived through as a little tiny person. And I finally understood why, even with all the outer success, the inner success felt like a zero. And my health was struggling. My poor digestion was trying to hold in all that trauma. So that's when a therapist with tools and support helped me face and begin to heal the abuse that I had tried to outrun for 29 years. Let me tell you, I wore out a lot of sneakers. So this is why I changed careers, because I experienced such a profound healing that I wanted to help others. So I went back to school. I became a certified clinical hypnotherapist. About 14 years ago, I opened my private practice, first in Danville, and I moved about a year ago to Walnut Creek, and I wrote a book. I started writing articles of inspiration and transformation and had about 50 published. This is my Walnut Creek office. Some of you have visited. If you haven't, please come, have a cup of tea with me. And I want to zoom in now to the coffee table. This little character in the foreground is a very important topic of conversation. I'm going to zoom in again to show this man, this little tiny man with a bag on his back. He is carrying a lot of burdens. And I often tell my clients, when you come in to see me, when you feel ready, when you feel safe, empty the bag out between us, and we're going to sort through it. We're going to see what is yours to heal and learn from and get the wisdom from the wounds, and what are you carrying for other people that you have absolutely no control over. And we sort those out. So 4 great referrals for me is someone that you hear talking about stress, anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, procrastination. They're struggling with a life transition. They've lost a loved one, they're in a divorce, or they're had a job loss. That's a huge piece of grief that happens. If you hear them talking about low self-esteem, they're always apologizing and just never good enough. That's recovering perfectionist. That was me. That's a good referral. Phobias, needles, dental appointments, flying, I can help. And my first case study is a phobia with a young man, Kylie, 18 years old. He was phobic about swallowing a pill. He couldn't take a vitamin, an aspirin, or an antibiotic, ever. And in one session with me, an hour-and-a-half session, my long session, I offered him hypnotherapy and some cognitive behavioral work. He went home that night and swallowed 2 vitamins. Nice. He and his mom were thrilled, and so was I. Before I go to my next client success story, these are some power partners for me, which are all in this room. Love you guys. And the next person is Carla, 35 years old, referred by her doctor. She came to see me because she was overwhelmed and was having panic attacks. She was a successful entrepreneur, overextended at work and home with 2 kids and a husband. That's a lot, right? And probably a dog or a cat in there too. So Carla grew up with an abusive mom. She coped in childhood by being passive and being a pleaser. We worked on her lack of boundaries, her passive communication style. We worked together for about 12 sessions, and as a result, she practiced good self-care, set boundaries and limits, and no longer suffered from panic attacks. So who do you know that's ready to release the burdens that they're carrying and transform burnout into balance and brilliance? These people would be great referrals for me. And finally, I'd like to thank everybody in the room who's referred closed business. Some of you aren't up here quite yet because I had to turn this in early. And in closing, I look forward to all of us inspiring one another to move forward with, I'm going to set that down so I can get my hands in here, with balance, but also heart and brilliance.